Now we are going to go deep dive into the topic by Dr. Swathanthira Devi about the topic KayaKalpa, a medical view. Before that, I would like to just tell a brief about her. Dr. Swathanthira Devi, a native of Coimbatore, did her schooling in Mani High School. She completed her medical studies from Stanley Medical College in the year 1969. She started her own hospital by the name Sri Hari Hospital in Sai Baba Colony in 1974 and has conducted more than 20,000 deliveries personally. She is a disciple of Swami Satyananda Paramahamsa, Bihar School of Yoga, and has been learning and teaching yoga from 1980. She complements her medical practice with yoga and has found enormous benefits. She has been awarded as Lifetime Achievement Award by Indian Medical Association in 2015. Now her mission is spread the message of yoga in every possible way. She addresses schools, colleges, ladies association, Vedatri Maharishi's groups, explaining the benefits of yoga and motivating them to practice yoga. She has completed MD in acupuncture. She has also authored 2 books about significance of acupuncture alarm points, and the second one is acupuncture for PCOS. She runs a wellness center in her hospital using acupuncture and yoga. She conducts campus and awareness programs free of charge to schools, college students, and other willing groups. This is a little bit about Amma. Without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Amma.
Wonderful. Thank you for your introduction. Good morning, everybody. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Amma. Yes, Amma.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Not very clearly, Amma. I think you need to a little bit increase the font. No, not that much. Yeah, that's good, I think. And there should be.
I think you need to put it in presentation view.
Okay.
Yeah, Amma, you have to put that as in the presentation view. Where is that?
Move the slider just a little bit on the left.
Which one?
If you move the cursor to the next icon after the minus, under the left of minus.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now it's
That's
okay?
it. There you go.
Okay, but you have to reduce the font now?
No, we are good. Just as you talk, just keep pressing your space. Then you'll be good.
Okay. So today's topic is KayaKalpa, a medical view. It's not just a medical view. I'll be combining what yoga says and what Maharishi has said, and what, as a doctor and in my experience, I have also taught myself, experienced, and the same thoughts I'm going to share with you. So he is my guru, Swami Satyananda Paramahamsa, a great tapasvi of contemporary period. So I am fortunate in getting him as my guru. So my pranams to him. And then the Mahamanidhar Maharishi, Aliyar Siddhar, we used to call him, Ennude Vanakangal. And salutations to all the gurus, yogis, and jnanis who strive tirelessly to give us this knowledge so that we can live healthy and happy. Only thing is, we should be prepared to take it up. So on this picture, you see a Vaidya. On the left side, you see an Ayurvedic Vaidya. And on the right side, a Chinese person. He is also a Vaidya in China. In olden days, what they do is, every village here will have one Vaidya, even in our system. And from every household, they will send in some produce, not just money, but rice and pulses and cloth and oil and ghee and milk. Every household will provide him with whatever he needs for his proper living. But supposing a person in that household has fallen ill that month, he will not send it from anything from his house. The argument is, it's because you didn't take care of us well that I have fallen sick. Nice argument, isn't it? So supposing about a lot of people in the village fall sick, he may not even have anything to eat. So what will be his mentality and what will be his mode of action? So he'll go to every house, see that they're eating properly according to the season and what you should eat in every season and their mental conditions, their problems. He'll try to solve the counseling he'll give. So all that, and his idea is to keep the society healthy. So what a nice idea. But today what has happened is only there are more patients, we doctors get more money. But we are not to be blamed alone for this. The social structure has changed. Even doctors today, every day in the news, you will see TV, WhatsApp, and then the magazines, everywhere doctors go on giving advice and what to do to prevent some diseases and all. But nobody seems to listen to it. So we have, there's for people who know Tamil, நோயற்ற வாழ்வே குறைவற்ற செல்வம். That means people who don't know, only a life where there is no disease, that is the wealth. Only the health is wealth. But we all know this. But how do we know this? We know it as a proverb. But when do we know this as a lesson? நோயுற்ற பின்பே நான் கற்ற பாடம். Only after I fell sick, I learned it as a lesson. This is my addition. The proverb is the first line. The second is my addition. So that means, what is a disease-free life? Is it just health? So what is health? We have to understand first. Is it just absence of disease? நோயற்ற வாழ்வு, we said. So that means, is it just absence of disease? No. It has got three states. Absence of disease is only a neutral state of affairs. A negative state is what you got disease, but a positive state is a state of health. A positive state where there's an abundance of energy to meet everything, all the daily physical, mental, psychological, and social events of life. So WHO, that's why it describes health as a state of complete well-being at the physical, mental, emotional, and social levels. And I always add another dimension, a spiritual level also. And I'm happy that all of you have come into that fold of that spiritual level also. So health is an abundance of energy. And this is the root cause of happiness, harmony with oneself and with others. So yoga treats a person fully. It's got a holistic view. It treats him fully in all his dimensions. So what do you mean when I say all his dimensions? What is whole? Is it body? Before, doctors used to think of only a body. Later on, of course, now they think the body and the mind has a connection, and mind also has an effect on the body. Or is it just both body and mind? No, or something more. Yoga says it as something more. KayaKalpa. Okay, 1 minute. I think the slide has got. Okay, it should start. We'll go back to that later on. So yoga says our body has 5 layers. Annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha. Annamaya kosha is the gross body that we see. Pranamaya kosha is the subtle body, which is made up of prana or life force or the biomagnetism. And the manomaya kosha is made up of the psychological aspects. That is our feelings, our emotions, all that. And Vijnanamaya kosha is the intellectual body. A kosha means a sheath or a covering. So yoga says we are covered. The innermost core is Anandamaya kosha. That is made up of body of bliss. So body of bliss is there inside everybody. And it is covered by these 4 sheaths. So Vijnanamaya kosha is the intellectual sheath. It's made up of our thoughts, our knowledge, our discrimination, our logic, reasoning, all these powers which we got through our manomaya kosha. From the mind, we got all this knowledge, and we have accumulated so much of experiences in life. So we learned to discriminate the good and bad and all that. So that makes the Vijnanamaya kosha. And inside all this is the Anandamaya Kosha. So this is the complete dimension of a person which yoga treats. So this is the picture of Panchakosha, one and inside the other. So as I said, Annamaya Kosha is the physical body. It's made up of food and made stronger by our exercise and hard work. And Pranamaya Kosha is the energy body made up of prana. Manomaya Kosha is a dimension made up of thoughts, emotion, memory, etc. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the dimension of knowledge, intelligence, and discrimination. Anandamaya Kosha is the dimension of happiness, health, and bliss. So these 5 layers are not separate, just like that picture you saw. These are all expressions of one and the same energy, what Maharishi calls as biomagnetism. That it is all these are just one energy in different wavelengths and different densities. So, and these are all interconnected. Every layer is connected to the other. They are interpenetrating and interdependent also. All 5 layers are interdependent. So yoga says any impurities or imbalances in one or many of these layers causes disease. And health is bringing back its original nature by removing the impurities, by balancing the imbalances, and then removing the blocks and stagnation. So this is the yogic view of health. And that is how, and that is what KayaKalpa and yoga are aiming at. So now what is KayaKalpa? KayaKalpa is the ancient wisdom. It was kept very secret. Some people think that KayaKalpa is a medicine. But there are some medicines also used by Siddhas to prolong life. So the main aim was to increase your lifespan and postpone death. So it was a very secretive process. The disciple was taught KayaKalpa only a lot of time spent with Guru. But now Maharishi, because of his compassion and love for the humanity, he has simplified it and given it to us without any secrets, without any hesitation. He is prepared to give it to anybody who wants to learn it. So how do we, there is one song of Sivavakya. If you know the meaning of this one song, you can completely understand the KayaKalpa and how it works. உருத்தரித்த நாடியில் ஒடுங்குகின்ற வாயுவை கருத்தினால் இருத்தியே கபாலமேற்ற வல்லிரேல் விருத்தரும் பாலராவார் மேனியும் சிவந்திடும் அருள் தரித்த நாதர் பாதம் அம்மை பாதம் உண்மையே. So people who don't know Tamil, உருத்தரித்த நாடி, it says. So உருத்தரித்த நாடி means, actually I think last time I talked to you about Nadi, and later on also I'll be telling you about that. Nadi is a channel of the flow of energy. So the Uruttarita Nadi means the Nadi that formed first during the conception. That is when the male the sperm and the ovum joined together and became an embryo, Uruttarita. So in that time, whichever Nadi was the first form Nadi, that is the Sushumna Nadi. So Uruttarita Nadi, and this Sushumna extends from Mooladhara Chakra to the Kapalam, Sahasrara Chakra, which is there inside a skull. So, and Uruttarita Nadi, Odungagendra Vayuve. Odungagendra means the compressed. You know, when there is something, we just Odingi Poche means it's compressed. Odungagendra Vayu here means energy. So in that Nadi, first there is an energy given into the Sushumna Nadi and in a very compressed form. So this is called ancestral Shi in traditional Chinese medicine and Garbhasaram in Ayurvedic medicine. So this energy is there in the Mooladhara Chakra. The Karuthinal Irthiye. Karuthinal means by voluntary, your voluntary mindful action, Irthiye. You pressurize it and then raise it, Kapala Metravalliral. If you can take it up to your Sahasrara, then what happens? Viruttar means old people. Old people also will become young. The skin will start you know, it will get a luminosity, it will become so nice. And Siddhas promises, they say, Arul Tharitha Nadar Padam, Ammai Padam Unmaye. That is, they swear on this, on the name of God, in the name of Shiva and Shakti, I swear that this will happen. So this is what this one song explains the KayaKalpa practice, where we are also taking the energy from the Muladhara Chakra up to the Sahasrara Chakra. So we'll see what are the steps by which we do that. So aim of this presentation is to tell the steps, the procedure and the structures involved, the results, the benefits and the medical correlation. So steps of KayaKalpa, I don't have to, I hope all of you have gone through KayaKalpa practice. Most of you must have gone through it, isn't it? So I assume you know the steps. Ashwini Mudra, Moona Bandha, Ojas breathing and Kechari Mudra. So here we have two things called psyche is the mind, soma is the body. So diseases of the mind affecting the body. Yogis knew this thousands of years ago. Doctors know it now. But and they are called psychosomatic disorders. But yogis knew it thousands of years ago. And then used pranayama to balance the mind and prevent psychosomatic disorders. And this is the list of the things: diabetes, BP, heart problem, migraine, gastric ulcers, asthma, skin problems, menstrual problems. All of these are caused in the body by the mind. And diseases of the body affecting the mind are called somatopsychic disorders. That is anemia. If you have chronic pain, you know your mind will get upset. And then terminally cancer patients, anxiety. They cause anxiety, depression in the mind, and then goes on to affect the patient's quality of life itself. So now how does the emotions or whatever is going on in our mind, how does it translate as a disease in the body? So they say for Vyadi, first the Adi. Adi means the beginning. The beginning is in the mind. And Vyadi means Vyaktam plus Adi. Vyaktam in Sanskrit means manifesting or Velipadadal in Tamil. So when whatever is in the mind is manifested in the body, that is called Vyadi. Vyadi is disease. But how does it happen? For this, we have to understand this process of the nervous system and its functions. All of you might have known the fight or flight response and the rest and digest response. These are two responses which are happening continuously in our body to keep the homeostasis and balance. So as we go on, I'll be explaining this. So to understand the fight or flight, we have to understand this nervous system in our body. Many of you might be aware of this, but just as a recap, I'll tell you, we have two nervous systems. Central nervous system, which is in our control. That is, we voluntarily, when we want to do something, we can do it. But there's one nervous system which is not in our control. That's called the autonomic nervous system. This autonomic nervous system controls all the vital processes of our body, like our heart rate, our breathing, our digestive system, our excretory system, the functions of our liver. Do we know any of this? Do we know how is this happening? Do we have any part in this? No, but it just keeps on going. Because if it was left to us, we would forget to do so many things. So God has not taken the chance. So He has done it to go on an automatic mode. This autonomic nervous system has got two parts. One is called the sympathetic nervous system, and the other is the parasympathetic nervous system. In the sympathetic nervous system is the energy spending system. Parasympathetic nervous system is the energy conserving system or energy saving system. According to traditional Chinese medicine, it's called yang and yin. And these should always be in balance. Only a balance of these two is health. An imbalance in these two is disease. And in yoga also, we have equivalents to the sympathetic and parasympathetic. That is the Ida Nadi and the Pingala Nadi. Pingala Nadi is the sympathetic nervous system. Ida Nadi is the parasympathetic nervous system. See, this is the picture. The central nervous system I have not talked about. This is the picture of the autonomic nervous system. In this, you can see that we have this vertebra. See, this is the brain. And from the brain, you have the pons medulla, and then here are the vertebra. And from between the vertebrae, you get the nerves. So in the cervical region, we have 8 vertebra. In thoracic region, we have 12, and then lumbar region 5, sacral region 5, and coccyx is 1. So you can see that the parasympathetic nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system comes from here, from the cervical 1 down to lumbar 2. So these green fibers are all the sympathetic fibers. So actually it's from T1 to L2 is coming, and these are going up to the face and skull. So this one. But the parasympathetic nerve fibers, if you see, they are completely not found in the middle part at all. They're coming only from the cranium. Cranium means the skull. So we have the nerves, cranial nerve, 7, 9, and 10. See, this 10th, 9, this 7 and 9, they go to supply the face, salivary glands, lacrimal glands, all those things that goes. But the most important nerve is the cranial nerve 10. This is called the vagus nerve. This vagus nerve starts from the cranium, and then it comes down and then supplies every part in the body. It's got the lung, the heart, the liver, the stomach, the spleen, pancreas, the small intestine, large intestine. Up to this, it is supplied up to the rectum. This vagus nerve, it comes to this up to the small intestine. The vagus nerve only controls the parasympathetic fibers. And then the lowermost spinal sacrum, we call it, sacral 2, 3, 4. From only in between these 3 vertebrae, one nerve comes out. That's called the pudendal nerve. So these fibers come, join, and become the pudendal nerve. And these fibers supply the large intestine, rectum, cecum, and the anus, the bladder, and the penis, and the ovary, and all that in the women. So this point I want you to understand very well, which when I explain the KayaKalpa, this picture is the most important picture. So this is the anatomy of the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is the physiology of the parasympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic nervous system is the arousing system. The arousing system means it makes you aware of a stress in your life, a danger in your life. It is called sympathetic because it is very sympathetic to the to your life, to preserve your life. When there is a danger, this system comes into practice immediately so that you can act fast and then offset the danger. So what happens during that is it dilates the pupil, so your vision becomes better, it accelerates your heartbeat, and then it inhibits your digestion. And in the liver, it stimulates glucose release so that your body, your blood glucose levels rise up. Because in emergencies, you need glucose and oxygen. See, if you want energy in your body, there are only 2 things. One is the glucose that is stored in our body, in our liver and fat, and oxygen from our breath. So these 2 combine, and with the chemical reaction, it becomes energy, and the energy goes to meet the situation. So the adrenal gland, it secretes the steroid hormones so that it controls your BP, your heart rate, your respiration. And then this relaxes the bladder. So this much is happening because of the sympathetic nervous system. In the parasympathetic nervous system, it contracts the pupil. It reverses the whole thing. It slows the heart rate. It stimulates digestion. It stimulates the gallbladder. And then all the reproductive system is taken care of by the parasympathetic system. So that is why this system, when it comes into play, it's called the fight or flight system, and this is called the rest and digest system. And now they even actually say that this is the rise and flow, and this is feed and breathe. So this is two ways they balance each other. So the fight or flight actually told you the same thing. The slide is in the picture. Increases heart rate, respiration, increases insulin secretion, because insulin is the one that takes the glucose from the blood into the cell. And when the heart rate and respiratory rate increase, there is more oxygen into the body and into the oxygen will go into the cell on its own, but glucose is taken only with the help of insulin. So these two combine, there's a chemical reaction and a lot of energy is produced. And why do we need that energy? So the parasympathetic, I think that slide is missing. The parasympathetic actually reverses the whole thing. But supposing you have only sympathetic, excessive sympathetic mode, and inadequate parasympathetic activity happen, what happens is you get a lot of energy wastage. I told you sympathetic nervous system depends on the energy spending. So when you have the energy wastage, you get exhaustion of organs, and then there is a decreased energy in the organs. When there is decreased energy, the organs don't perform to their optimum potential. And then when there is a lot of sympathetic activity, waste products go on accumulating in your body, and then results in disease in the body and mind. So this slide. So now I just want to go back to the fight or flight thing. See, this term was coined in relation to a caveman. A caveman, when he was inside the cave, he'll just come out to get some food. Supposing he sees a deer or a peacock, he'll just smile happily and then go walk. But supposing he sees a tiger, immediately when the eyes see the tiger, the mind tells him, because of the intellectual, already the memory inside, that this is dangerous to your survival, to your life itself. So that immediate message triggers the sympathetic response, and all these changes take place. So now, why all these places take place means, as I told you, you need more oxygen, more glucose, and more energy. And more energy to which parts of the body? You need more energy to the heart to breathe, to beat fast, to the lungs, to the brain, so to form the strategy. And then to your skeletal system. You either have to fight, means you need a lot of energy and strength in your hands. If you have to run away from the place and escape, there's only choice for him. Either fight the tiger or run away and escape, save himself. If you want to run away, you need energy to the muscles of the lower limb. So this happens, and the man, okay, he gets a lot of energy, then he fights or he runs away, he saves himself. And then what does he do? He'll go into the cave or to a safer place, and then he'll just relax. When he relaxes, the parasympathetic nervous system comes into play. Now, when there is a lot of the blood is transferred to the heart, lungs, brain, and the skeletal system, we have only the same amount of blood inside our body. Suddenly, something is nobody is going to infuse us with blood donation. The same 4.5 liters of blood only we have. So if there is more blood for few organs, that means it has to be diverted from some other organs, isn't it? So what are all the organs from which this blood is taken? First is the digestive system. The body decides, now you people can wait. We need this blood for something else. So the digestive system stops. And then the reproductive system, that is definitely stopped. And then the excretory system, the kidneys, they also get lesser blood supply. So from these three areas, the blood is taken and given to the necessary organs. Okay, when supposing he comes back and takes rest, then the parasympathetic activity takes over. The sympathetic response is very instantaneous in onset, but it's very slow to receive. So it goes on for some time, and only when it subsides, the parasympathetic nervous system comes into play. When it comes into play, and then it reverses all these things. So what does it do? It starts digesting, getting more food, more energy from the food, and then stores it in the liver, in the muscles, everywhere. It stores it as fat. And then the menstrual system or the reproductive system, see, the uterus, the ovum, all that, suddenly they are not getting blood. The ovum is maturing, but then suddenly it's not getting the uterus function, suddenly it will stop. Afterwards, again, it is taken. The kidney function is stopped so that the waste products are increased, your urea, creatine, everything goes up. But when the parasympathetic system acts very well, if it's balanced, all these things are reversed day to day, or even part of the day itself, or when you sleep in the night completely, all these are reversed and then they are brought back to normal. And this is called the homeostasis. But what happens today in a fast-paced life, target-oriented life, and we are living a very stressful life. We think we are living a very stressful life, but compared to our ancestors who lived in the caves, ours is not a stress at all. But what we do is, we see a tiger in the house. We say in Tamil, Mamiyar Puli, Marumagal Puli, in the office, your boss is a tiger. In the traffic itself is a tiger. So there are so many tigers are real, sometimes imaginary. So what happens is your sympathetic nervous system is stimulated. Most of the time you're in the sympathetic mode, not giving enough time for the parasympathetic nervous system to come in and then balance these imbalances, and then to get back this energy, to bring your organs to regeneration and repair. You don't give it the time at all. And this disparity is what is making the organs fail in the long run and then get into problems. So this is what is this thing. So what we need for that is prana. The prana is the energy. It's the life force. It is that first expression of our consciousness. And when in Maharishi's terms, it is the wind tugal, which generates the biomagnetism. And Swamiji is the first person to take this concept, otherwise in the Shastras, it is the prana. So this is responsible for the autonomic nerve coordination, cell revival, immunity, blood purification. For everything you need prana. And this prana flows into the body through channels called nadis. I think last month also I talked about that. These are the picture of nadis. And the most important three nadis are the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Did I talk about this in the last month, Vijay? Vijay, did I explain this?
It's okay, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead. Yeah. You continue, Ma. Yeah, we are listening.
Okay,
it's okay, Ma.
Some people were not there. So
yeah, it's okay, Ma. Continue.
Okay. So these three are the major energy channels. The nadi is an energy channel. And this starts from all the three nadis start from the Mooladhara Chakra. We know that. I'll tell you about the Mooladhara Chakra where it is later on. So it starts from the Mooladhara Chakra. This is the Sushumna Nadi, which goes straight up to the Sahasrara Chakra. That is our cerebral cortex or the brain. But the other two nadis start from the Mooladhara. Now the Ida Nadi goes to the left side first and then come back to the center and then again to the right, left, and finishes in our Agni Chakra. Whereas the opposite is the Pingala Nadi. It goes to the right first, left, right. So again comes to this thing. So now all these three nadis meet in the center. And when supposing you have two flows, streams of water, crossing each other, there is a whirlpool. So same way, these energy channels, when two energy channels cross each other, there is a whirlpool of energy. whirlpool formation. And this whirlpool is called the chakra. A chakra, you know, is a rotational body. And this is these meeting places are called the chakras. So this is the Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddhi, and Ajna. And the most important factor that I want to say in this is these all Ida and Pingala, they stop with the Agnya Chakra. Agnya Chakra, you may be all aware that behind our center of the forehead. And this is the pituitary. According to the hormones, endocrine gland, this corresponds to the pituitary. So these two systems, they stop at the pituitary level. Whereas this Sushumna Nadi pierces the pituitary level, Agnya, and then goes up to the Sahasrara. So this point, we'll see the importance of this point later on. This again is just a pictorial representation of that. And we, as last time I told you, each one has got this thing, a perineal body. This Mooladhara is called the perineal body. This perineal body is a small, thickened structure found in the middle of the floor of the pelvis. For men, you know, they say, the Siddha says that Karuvaike iruviral mele, Yeruvaike iruviral kile. Now, Karuvaike iruviral kile, Yeruvaike iruviral mele. That is 2 fingers above the anus and 2 fingers below the male reproductive organ. So that is in the males, that is the Mooladhara, that is the perineal body, and that is the place, not on the skin, but on the inside. There is a thickening where all the muscles and tendons get inserted. It's a very solid structure. You can even feel it with your fingers. But in the ladies, in that place, there is a vagina. So the Mooladhara goes inside the vagina for ladies. So of course, I told you this Swadhisthana is ovary and testis, adrenal, thymus, thyroid, pituitary, and Sahasrara corresponds to the brain. Because Sahasrara is said to be a 1,000-petal lotus. The 1,000 is not just saying exactly 1,000. 1,000 means countless. So our brain has got 84 billion neurons. So that is what Sahasrara or 1,000 petals of lotus means. And most of these petals are just closed. Only about 3 to 5% of the brain cells are active. And as the petals open up, as the brain cells open up, then our brain becomes more and more efficient. And that is how the Siddhas, they opened up a lot of their brain cells because of yoga. And then they got the Ashtama Siddhis. So all the things that we cannot even dream of, the Siddhas attained Siddhis because of opening up the sleeping brain cells. And for that, how to open up these brain cells? By getting more prana into the brain. One is by way of breathing, you get prana into the body. But the most important is raising the Kundalini energy, and taking it up to the brain. So I told you these 3 things. Ida is parasympathetic nervous system, Pingala is the sympathetic nervous system, and Sushumna is the central nervous system. Now, this Agnya Chakra is the meeting place of Ida and Pingala. Already I have told you this. This controls the physical functions. And this is the master of endocrine glands. So it controls all the endocrine glands, and through which it controls all the physical, the heart rate, respiration, your urine, your kidney activity, liver, your menstrual cycles, all the rhythms in the body are all controlled by the pituitary or the Agnya Chakra. Now, here we have to know about one thing called the psychic. I think this has to come later on. Anyway, I'll just tell you. The psychic breath is meant, normally we have a breathing, but psychic breath is a conscious breath where you integrate your mind and body and you direct the prana via our nadis to any part. The breathing is coming into us and going automatically. I think this slide again will come later in. But here you can, through psychic breath, that is by concentrating your mind, where your mind goes, the energy follows, Swamiji will say. So this, you can direct the prana by the psychic breath to nadis, to any part. That is from Mooladhara up to the Sahasrara also, you can direct the energy. So here in Ashwini Mudra, it is of course the four parts we've seen. Now how does it respond to this medical aspect we'll see. Ashwini Mudra is a contraction and relaxation of anal sphincter, all of you know. Now what happens when there is when you do the Ashwini Mudra, it wakes up the Kundalini, and it's a very powerful mudra, and it's supposed to cure all diseases of the gastrointestinal tract. And the first step before Moola Bandha, Magarandha Samhita says, Ashwini Mudra is the first step to be practiced before Moola Bandha. And medically, what happens? The Siva Samhita says, the one who does Ashwini Mudra successfully can conquer anything, including death. So now what happens during Ashwini Mudra is, I told you about the S2, 3, 4 segments. The pudendal nerve, it supplies the anal sphincter. Sphincter is the muscle which contracts and controls your motion when you want to pass or not. That sphincter. So this sphincter is under it's got both sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system, nervous fibers, and the motor fibers also from the central nervous system. That is why you are able to control the motion. Supposing you want to pass motion and that it's not possible, you are in a meeting, you can control it because voluntarily you can change that. But sometimes in children, that control has not been trained. So it just soon as they pass, you feel like they pass motion. Same way for urine also. So when this voluntary control of this voluntary control and relaxation of the Ashwini Mudra, the anal sphincter, through the conscious brain, the central nervous system brain, the autonomic nervous system also gets stimulated, and mostly it has got parasympathetic fibers. So the parasympathetic nerve fibers get stimulated because of the contraction, anal contraction. So that is the So what happens is we are in a sympathetic mode. Only when the sympathetic and parasympathetic are in balance, this one point you have to understand is what yoga says is, when the Ida Nadi and Pingala Nadi flow for 90 minutes on either side, from the right, when the right nostril breathing, there is the Pingala Nadi flowing, and when the left nostril breathing is the Ida Nadi flowing. And after 90 minutes, and sometimes the timings change, 60 minutes, during the changeover, both nostrils are open. Now, you may not be knowing it, but most of the time you're breathing only through one nostril. So only one nadi is working, other nadi is not working, or one is more and one is less. When both are equal, then the Sushumna nadi opens, and only then the energy can flow up into the brain from the Mooladhara chakra. So the yogis, I don't know how they knew this aspect of it. So there is no known system in medicine or in the world which activates the parasympathetic nervous system. We just rest, relax, all that when we do, after slowly when we relax, then the parasympathetic gets activated. But yoga is the only system which can activate voluntarily the parasympathetic nervous system. So this anal contraction activates the parasympathetic nerves and balances the sympathetic parasympathetic activities. So when these are both balanced, what happens is the Sushumna Nadi opens and paves way for the energy to rise up. So, and not only the parasympathetic fibers in the anus, we are accentuating it by increasing the vagal tone. I told you the vagus nerve, which starts from the cranium and comes down, which controls the heart, respiration, everything. So when the heart rate is more, with the vagal stimulation happens, then heart rate comes down, all the parasympathetic activity takes over and balances the sympathetic nervous system. So in Ashwini, in KayaKalpa, we have that practice of how to increase the parasympathetic activity by the vagal nerve also, by stimulating the vagal nerve also. So this one I told you. Now the second process is called the Moola Bandha. Moola Bandha is willful contraction of the perineum. It's not just the anus, but the whole pelvic floor. the whole pelvic floor gets lifted. Of course, in Maharishi practice, they say you take the anal contraction and hold it for some time. And to hold it, you have to use the whole pelvic floor. But otherwise, it is just the center of the perineum, the Mooladhara chakra alone is contracted and then taken up. It usually relaxes like this, then it is straightened up. This is a psychomuscular energy lock. A bandha is a psychomuscular. That is, with the mind, you contract the muscles and you block the energy. Why do we do this? Means you redirect the flow of prana. And why do we need to redirect it? We know that from Mooladhara, we have to take it up to Sahasrara. And it cuts through the Brahma Granthi. Brahma Granthi is the Abhya Chakra. And this also helps in maintaining celibacy. So this is the picture of men and women. For men, see, this is the Ashwini Mudra, anal sphincter, and the Mooladhara is 2 fingers away above this and 2 fingers below this. So this is the Moolabandha. For ladies, the same place, but because the vagina has opened, it has gone up a little bit. It's just below the cervix. Now, Yoga Taravali says, if you can do Moolabandha and raise the Apana Vayu through the Ida Nadi, you can taste Amrit secreted in the Bindu and conquer death. Now, what is Apana Vayu? We have Pancha Pranas, Prana, Apana, Samana, Udana, Vyana. I'm not going into the detail. Apana is the Vayu responsible for the excretory activities, all the things that are going downwards, your motion, your urine, your menstrual period, your ejaculation, your semen, all that are through the action of the Apana Vayu. So direction is from the navel downwards. Prana Vayu is from the chest upwards. So this direction is, this is up and Apana is down. So if by Moolabandha, we are raising the Apana Vayu, we are blocking the Apana Vayu going down and redirecting it through the Ida Nadi. That is the parasympathetic nervous system. You can taste Amrit secreted in Bindu. This we'll see later on. So Chandogya Upanishad says, one who has mastered Moolabandha can get back youth and strength and postpone death. So all of them from North India, from South India, Siddhas, everybody go on saying the same thing. And Maharishi has distilled this, all this essence and given it to us as KayaKalpa. So this one is, so this is again, this Yoga Taravali says, pressing the perineum or vagina with the heel and contracting the rectum so that the Apana Vayu moves upwards. That's called Moolabandha. And again, they explain it by contracting the perineum, the downward moving Apana Vayu is supposed to go upwards. And press the heel firmly against the rectum, contract forcefully and repeatedly so that the vital energy rises. So these are all the various things you can go back into the literature. And the effect of Moolabandha is, it increases the pressure in the Mooladhara chakra. So when the pressure is increased, there is increased heat also. So because of this increased heat, the Apana Vayu goes upwards. See, Abhayar, when you see, when Vinayagar Raghuval, she says, Mooladharathu Moondalu Kanalai Kalal Eluppum Karutharivitthu. In Mooladhara, there is a fire generated. But with the help of the Kalal Eluppum, the breath, Kal means Katru or the Vayu. With that Vayu, Apana Vayu, you raise that energy, the Moola Kanal or the Kamagni, we call it. So the heat in the Mooladhara chakra or the Kundalini Shakti is when it is raised and it is made into a Vayu. First, it is in a liquid state. And then it is because of the heat, it becomes into a Vayu state, a gaseous state. And then so that they say the Kundalini is sleeping like a 2.5-coiled serpent. And when this Moolabandha is done repeatedly, it increases the pressure and heat. That is that with the hissing noise, the snake wakes up and it goes straight through the Sushumna Nadi and touches the Kapalam or the Sahasrara. That is the raising of Kundalini, we call it. So what does it do? It changes. The time is more, it's already 9:40. Can I go on for some time? Vijay, can I go on
Yes,
for some
Ma.
more?
Yeah, go
10
on,
minutes?
Ma. Yeah, everyone listening.
Another 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
take
we
it.
started late.
No, it's okay, Ma. You can get. Yes, Ma.
Okay. So there are changes at 4 levels: the nervous system, the endocrine system, the psychological level, and sexual level. Nervous system, I told you, the sympathetic, parasympathetic nerves are getting balanced. The parasympathetic gets activated. In endocrine system, this goes into the chakras. The energy that is generated goes through each of the chakras. It goes to the Swadhisthana, goes to the Manipur, and Anahata, Vishuddhi, and then Agnya. So each of these, I told you in the last time itself, each chakra corresponds to an endocrine gland. So all these endocrine systems are activated. Not only just activated, they work towards balancing everything that's happening in the body. And then the psychological level, when it goes up to the Agnya chakra, this pituitary is controlled by the hypothalamus in the brain. So this hypothalamus have whatever the brain cortex feelings, everything happens, it comes through the hypothalamus and then induces the pituitary to act. So when the pituitary up to that, this energy goes, it changes the whole psychological level also and the sexual level. See, Moola Bandha and Ashwini Mudra done regularly, it increases the sexual power of the person. Of course, it does not mean that it makes you indulge, but it gives you control over your sexual urges and practices, and it helps in celibacy also. And in changes in the body, I told you, now it's sympathetic nervous system. Oh, this is the reduce. The first one is wrong, actually. It increases the parasympathetic, decreases the sympathetic, it decreases the respiration, heart, BP, and the brain waves also. The brain wave changes from beta to alpha. When you do meditation, your brain wave pattern changes from beta to alpha. But when you do KayaKalpa also, because the parasympathetic nervous system is taken, when there is rest and releasing, the brain wave pattern itself changes from beta to alpha. So this is a very important preliminary practice to when the quality of your meditation will be much better when you do KayaKalpa before that. So in the energy level, what happens is the normal direction of prana, I told you, from chest upwards, apana downwards. But then this reverses, this Moola Bandha reverses the energy. The prana comes down, apana goes up, and they meet in the Manipura chakra. And this meeting of prana, apana, it results in the expansion of consciousness. The whole brain gets activated. And then the third practice is called the Ojas breath. Ojas by itself is a separate 1 hour topic. So in Ojas, what we do is we take a forcible breath by expanding our chest and contracting our throat. So our stomach goes in, our chest expands, and then in the throat, when we hissing noise, when we take a deep breath, our throat is slightly contracted also. This is called Ujjayi Pranayama. So when there is a Kundalini, the Sushumna Nadi is open because of the balance of sympathetic, parasympathetic. Because of Moola Bandha, it is pressurized. The Kundalini is pressurized. There's heat, so it becomes into gas, and then it starts coming into the Sushumna Nadi. So by this Ojas breath, what we do is we facilitate the upward movement by causing a negative pressure in the abdomen and chest. So when there's negative, it gets sucked into that. And then when it comes to the throat, because of the Ojas breath, there is in the throat, what we call as a carotid sinus. In that carotid sinus, it's shown here. See, this is what is there, and this is the carotid sinus. When this jugular vein, when separates two, there is the carotid sinus. So when these glottis and these muscles contract, there is pressure on this, which reduces the BP also, and this stimulates the vagus nerve also. And I told you, vagus, if it is activated, the whole body relaxes, all the organs relax, and then energy conservation takes place. Energy wastage is prevented, energy conservation starts taking place. So this is what actually already I told you about the psychic breath. So this Ojas breath is a psychic breath. And the psychic breath, the normal breathing is automatic and unconscious. It's coming and going throughout the day. You never even know what is happening. But a psychic breath is a conscious breath. It integrated with your mind, and it integrates prana through the nadis. It directs the prana through the nadis at will, with whichever part you want. If you want to go into the right hand, it will go. Left hand, it will go. If you want to go into the Agni Chakra, it will go. If you want to go into the Turyam, it will go. So with this Ojas breath, which is a psychic, it's called a psychic breath. Psyche means mind. So with the mind, help of the mind, you take the breath to the Sahasrara Chakra. And that is what the aim of this KayaKalpa practice and all those practices. That is taking the energy, Kundalini, from the Mooladhara up to the brain, up to the Sahasrara. So what is Kundalini? Kundalini is the primordial source energy. What we call it as the cosmic creative energy. So cosmic creative energy is just when the first vibrations took place, then this cosmos came into, macrocosmos came into being, manifested. Before that, it was unmanifested as, as Shivam. And the cosmic creation, that vibration is Shakti. So that creative energy, what we call as a Shakti, is in the cosmos, it is Shakti, and in our body, it is called the Kundalini. And it supposed to reside in the Mooladhara Chakra. And now what is the Bindu Chakra? This Bindu Chakra is in the brain. This is in the form of a crescent moon. And this is supposed to give drops of nectar, which flows from the moon, has the quality of endowing enlightenment, but it's completely consumed by the sun, incurring old age. See, this Bindu Chakra, it gives a drop of Amrit. Nectar is Amrit. All of them talk about Amrit. And even in Tamil, we say Amudam. And Bindu is a dot. Bindu means a dot. And this dot is at the back of the head, above the pituitary. So this is called the seventh chakra even. And this, when you can normally, when the Ida and Pingala are flowing equally, and there is energy rising up through the Sushumna Nadi, this nectar, one drop comes. For everybody, daily it comes. But what happens is that Bindu, that drop, Bindu is a drop. That drop comes, it is consumed by the Manipura Chakra. The Manipur is the sun. Bindu is the Soma Chakra, the moon chakra. So this, the Amrit from the moon is consumed by the sun or the fire of the Manipura Chakra. But in yoga, what happens is, when you do Kechari Mudra, this energy that is flowing up through that, you direct this energy by doing Kechari Mudra, by folding your tongue and touching the palate. You direct it into the brain instead of coming down. And Kechari has force. Kechari Mudra is called the king of the mudras. Just as the Kechari means lion. So just as lion is the king of the forest, Kechari is the king of mudras. That's what Hatha Yoga Pratibhada says. It says there is only one seed of creation and one mudra, Kechari, and one deva independent of everything, and one state of mind, one on money. That's what Hatha Yoga Pratibhada says. And there are 4 stages of Kechari. That is just folding and touching the upper palate is the first stage. Then going and touching the uvula, the soft palate, that ulna, we call it now, uvula, the second stage. And then going beyond that is the third stage. And then touching the top of the nasopharynx and closing the nostril itself is the fourth stage that everybody cannot attain. And what happens to that is, all this, the pituitary and pineal, they started from the top of the nasopharynx and then moved into the brain during embryology. So the nerve fibers are going from this place, from the top of the nasopharynx, So when you do Kechari and just stimulate this, there's no bending, the pituitary and pineal are stimulated. The Bindu chakra is stimulated, and then that Amrit secretes. You can voluntarily make the Amrit secretion by doing Kechari Mudra. But this is the Bindu. You can see it, all the chakras, and then you see the Bindu here. This is where we do Agnya, this is where we do Turiya, and Bindu is somewhere in between. And this is maybe somewhere, but not exactly. But in the brain, if you see, I'll show the picture next. So here, the Kundalini is coming through the Sushumna Nadi. The Kechari is coming here. The prana is coming from the respiratory system. And this increases the energy, and all this is directed into this thing. And this is the mystical union. The mystical union is union of Shiva and Shakti. Shakti from Kundalini and Shiva, the consciousness and energy. These two, there is a mystical union, and this union explodes, and then the whole brain opens, all the 100 billion neurons start opening up, and then you can get into any state of consciousness that you want. So this is the picture of this thing. This is the hypothalamus, and this is the pituitary, and this is the pineal. Of course, we don't see it like in the pictures, other pictures. So this is the aim. When you fold your tongue and bring it up to this point, the nasal point, the nerve fibers are going from here. So they stimulate the pituitary and pineal. So this pineal is supposed to be the bridge between the material and the spiritual world. See, up to the pituitary, it is the material world, the physical body. And above that is our mind, our psyche, and our spiritual levels, or the metaphysical body. Yeah, our subtle body, our causal body. So this pineal is supposed to be in between the two. So this connects. So when you are able to stimulate the pineal gland, it secretes a melatonin. Actually, according to yoga, it secretes Amrit. Amrit means, Mrityu means death. Amrit means which prevents death. Tamil we say Sava Marande or Amudam. Amudam is supposed to, if you take an Amridam, you suppose there's no death, your life will go on. So, but now what is that physical? It is the physical structure. Amrit is, it's a secretion. So what does that mean? Today, there is a lot of controversy and we're not able to pinpoint. But one thing they say is it may be a melatonin. So pineal gland secretes a hormone called melatonin, the dark hormone, or it's called the miracle hormone because it has so many functions. It's anti-inflammatory, antioxidative, immunomodulator, cardioprotection, neuroprotection, rhythm modulator. Pineal is responsible for all the rhythms in our body. So if the rhythm changes, our whole body system goes, unhealthy. But if the rhythm is maintained, everything's good. So pineal and melatonin is responsible for all the circadian rhythms and sleep dysfunction. Melatonin is responsible for a good sleep, a metabolism, everything, anti-neoplastic, all this is the miracle hormone, they call it. And that is exactly what corresponds so well to what the yogi said. So when you have every system going perfectly, you're not getting any disease, you're healthy, all your system, when you were 20, how your body was acting. If you're at 70, your body is acting the same way without any degeneration and wear and tear. That means your lifespan is going to increase. Of course, we're not saying completely it will stop death, but it causes anti-aging. Melatonin is the anti-aging hormone. So instead of taking supplements and things, by doing this KayaKalpa, you stimulate the Ashwini Mudra, you stimulate the parasympathetic nerve from Moola Bandha, you raise the Kundalini, and then you open the Sushumna Nadi with the Ojas breath, you go through that, and with this Kechari Mudra, you take it up to the brain, redirect it, and open up the brain cells. Every time you do a KayaKalpa practice, about 100 to 200 brain cells open up. They keep on opening. And then if you're really doing it very well, the Amrit drops comes, and then it helps to increase your lifespan, gives you a healthy life and postpone death also. So this is the basis of KayaKalpa, which I have connected with my medical knowledge and acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine knowledge. And I don't know how it will be to you all. You have to aim one side of it, but I've just given you a little more to think about. That's all. Valga Nalamudan.
Thank you, Ma. Valga Nalamudan. Thank you so much for so much useful information. It's a lot to intake. Yeah, so, but if anybody has any questions, it's
I'm sorry it's late, but I just got carried away, I think.
No, that's